If you're somebody who's always on the go, loves camping, or just wants a small, portable, reliable power source for all of your devices in case of an emergency, then you're in the right place. I'll be diving into the features, performance, and overall functionality of the EcoFlow River 2 Pro. I'm Wanderer 001. Let's get into it. Starting off, this is not my first portable solar generator from EcoFlow. Over there in the corner, you can see my review of the original EcoFlow River power station that I had. So there will be some points in this review that I'm making comparisons to that previous model. The overall construction of the River Pro 2 here is pretty much this plastic construction. I will give you a walk around in a moment. Overall dimensions, you are looking at 10.6 by 8.9 by 8.9. The material overall is just this plastic construction. Yes, you do get a little different tone on the top with that little gray, but overall you have matte plastic all around, which is good because it hides scrapes and dust and things of that nature, because I've bumped this around quite a bit. You may have noticed on the top, as I brought it into focus, that the River Pro here has a completely flat top. And this is very good for stacking things on top of it, especially things that you might be charging. However, I will mention that the top does not have a wireless charging pad at all. That's just a place to put your stuff. I have seen some third-party aftermarket tops that you can put on this, which will allow you to utilize wireless charging via one of the USB ports over here. On the top, because I'm going to call this part of the top since it's the same color scheme, is our handle. The handle has been moved to the back of the device as opposed to on the previous model, which was on top, which didn't allow you to stack anything. The one difficulty with this handle is that, well, one, it kind of pushes the solar generator into a forward-facing motion when you are picking it up. It did take a little getting used to, but what I can say is it is not terrible once you realize that it's going to tip forward on you. On either side of the power station, you are going to have these fan ports to help exhaust the heat of the device. What you might not notice, I've seen no other reviewers talk about it, is the front facing here. There are cutouts along the side, which also help to move air through the device. On the bottom here, nothing really to look at. You've got 4 rubber footies to help keep this in place. But what you might not have seen on this compared to its previous generation is an expandable battery port. What you get here is what you get. There's no way to add to the power of this particular portable power station. Talking about the general construction, what is the weight of this? Well, as cited on the EcoFlow's website, it is stated at being 17.2 pounds. However, when I did my own actual weighing, it was coming in at 22.4 pounds with just the power station and 23.1 pounds once I added the cable that comes with this. That's a bit of a difference from what was actually being stated. It's still not terrible, especially for what you're getting, but it's a little heavier than what they're advertising. Speaking of that internal battery, this unit has something different than the original, which is the chemical makeup of the battery. All EcoFlow devices now use LiFePO for batteries or lithium iron phosphate batteries. These are a preferred battery type. The original had lithium ion batteries, which could not have as great a capacity, but also had limitations in charging cycles. And what do I mean by that? Well, the watt hour of this device, and that's how you measure the battery for this, is 768 watt hours. The lithium iron phosphate batteries, as opposed to lithium ion, allow you to have up to 3,000 charge cycles before you see any degradation of the battery itself. What that means is you can charge this for 8.5 years every day from 0 to 100, and at the end of that 8.5 years, you will only start to see a degradation in the battery life, unlike what you had with the lithium ion battery, which had a shorter lifespan. That is one of the prime reasons that I upgraded to this. I'll have my other one, but I like the idea of being able to cycle this a lot more. So this is my everyday charging, take out into the field with me. That one is my emergency backup one. The battery itself can charge from 0 to 100% in 70 minutes using the quick charge ability of this device. EcoFlow mentions that that is 5 times faster than other portable power stations on the market and even 27% quicker than the previous generation. I did my own testing with this and found that I got from 10% to 100% in just over an hour. I saw a maximum input into this of 900 109 watts, and you would think with this drawing that type of power that it would get very hot. In fact, it only got up to 112 degrees Fahrenheit when I was doing that rapid charging. You don't always have to rapid charge this. However, if you need to make sure that your battery is at maximum capacity before perhaps going out into the field or a imminent weather situation, you have that ability. You can also tone that down using the application, which we'll talk about a little later. Included in the box with the River Pro, you get the charging cable. Notice that there is no bulky box that you have to have along with this. It is just the power cable. You also get a DC charger and a barrel plug port. So you have been staring at the front of this. Let's talk about some of the things that we get. In the upper left-hand corner, you have 3 USB-A ports and 1 USB-C port that will output 100 watts. One of the interesting things that EcoFlow has done with the River 2 Pro here is they have modified amount of ways that you can charge this. On the back, which I will show you momentarily, you've got 2 ports for AC and DC, but they have introduced the ability to charge via this USB-C port. Now, you're not going to get those crazy numbers that you're going to get from AC or DC, but the ability to charge from this is really nice. Over here on the right-hand side, you've got a DC port and then your 2 barrel plugs right there. And then you have 4 full AC outlets. Now, notice each of these is lined and zoned off, meaning that if I want to use my AC outlets down here, not only do I have to first power on the device, I would then have to click the button in order to activate that particular array. You can do multiple sections all at once, but just know you have to tap your button on before you can utilize something blocked off. If you notice your buttons, they do have a bright white LED light in there letting you know, hey, this is on, which I greatly appreciate because it's easy to see that outside in the daylight. One thing lacking from our USB ports that was on the previous version was a fast charge USB-A port. I wish they would have kept that, but I can understand why they didn't put it here. But if they weren't going to put it here, I'd rather have another USB-C port than 3 USB-A ports. When we're looking at our individual ports on the front, you can expect different wattage outputs from each. Our USB-C, as we talked about, has a maximum of 100 watts. Our DC port has a maximum of 126 watts. Our USB-A has a maximum of 12 watts. And then our 4 AC outlets have a maximum output of 800 watts total, meaning you don't get 800, 800, 800, you get a total of 800, or 1600 watts if you use X-Boost, which is something that you can change in the application, which I'll show you a little later. Each of these outlets support pure sine wave, which will prevent your very expensive electronics from having spikes in power going to your electrical devices. Walking around the rest of our device, as I mentioned before, each side has this fan port. The fan itself is not terribly loud. Even when quick charging, I tested it and got about 61 decibels coming from the fan when it was really ramping them up. If that's too loud for you, only you'll know for sure, but what I can say is in my particular situations, it has been quiet enough that it has not disturbed me in any way, shape, or form. Coming around to the back of our device, here are our inputs. Notice they don't have a door anymore like they had on the previous model, and even though I mentioned being able to charge via USB-C on the front, you only have 2 connections back here. If you use your AC input, you can get a maximum of 900 watts in. If you're using the DC car adapter, you can get 100 watts in. If you are using a solar panel using MC4 connectors, which would connect to this right here, you can get up to 220 watts in. And what I mentioned before on the front, using that USB-C port, you can get 100 watts in. So there are several different ways that you can charge this device, which makes it very versatile, and I really like that. Granted, you cannot AC charge and solar charge at the same time. You don't get to ramp it up that way, but the fact that you have that much flexibility is great, especially if this is for emergencies. One of the main reasons that I like EcoFlow portable power stations over some others is the display. You get a lot of information on this display, even though they have made some choices in changing it from the previous model. I still like it, but I like the previous one a little better. Over here on the left-hand side, you get a readout based on how much percentage you have left, letting you know, hey, On 10%, I can run whatever I have plugged into this, which is nothing at the moment, for 62 hours. In the upper right-hand corner here, you've got Wi-Fi signal that lets me know that I am connected to the application. Right there, that actually is a limiter. So you can actually say, do not charge past a certain point, and also do not discharge past a certain point, which is what I have in place. I don't allow discharging past 10% to, again, help prevent extra wear and tear on my battery. Here we have our input in wattage and our output in wattage, and these will dynamically change as you're either charging something from this or inputting power into this. As I come over and touch some of my ports here, you'll notice that they do light up, letting you know you have these particular items on. This is always great to know, and the fact that you can see them at a glance here in case your ports are covered and you can't see those lights is great. The one thing I dislike is the new segments that they have for your percentage. Rather than being in 10% increments like they were previously, they're now 20% like some other manufacturers. I do like the fact that they have a actual percent number in there, but I liked having smaller segments. That's just me though. The screen itself can be seen in most lights. You will notice that it kind of comes in at this off-white, but it is bright enough that as long as it's not getting direct sunlight, you will be able to read it. If I had X-Boost turned on, that would indicate here as well. X-Boost, while it will allow you to have more output from your AC ports, what you're actually doing is lowering the voltage. All of that though, however, is done through the application. So why don't we take a look at the app. This is the EcoFlow app for the EcoFlow River Pro 2. Here you can see it gives you a nice depiction of the EcoFlow product right there, as well as a percentage when it's turned on. If it's not turned on, you wouldn't see this. So right now I have this powering 2 items, and there you can see what's left. If I select my EcoFlow River Pro 2, you're brought to this screen. This is one of 2 different screens that you can have as your home screen. Right now you can see time remaining 33 hours 57 minutes, and it's getting close to 44%. This is based on I have things drawing from my River Pro currently. Input, you can see AC is 0, USB is 0, and solar is 0. But if I come over here to my output, we can see that from the USB-A port, I have 3 watts, and from my USB-C port, I have 7 watts being generated, as well as I have the name up there and a little Wi-Fi indicator letting you know that I'm connected. You'll notice that the AC and DC are both currently at 0 and off, but there is a toggle, so if I turn this on, it will actually turn on the AC outlets on the River Pro without actually having to do that on the unit itself. And you can see dynamically that changes as things are happening. In the upper right-hand corner, this is our settings for the unit. Selecting this will bring us into a lot of extra menus. Starting off, you have the rename. So if I wanted to give this River Pro a different name, here we have our device sharing. Selecting this will allow you to invite somebody with the EcoFlow app to share in the management of the River Pro. Here we have energy management. This will allow you to set limitations, which is a great thing that I like about EcoFlow, in that they give you these extra options after the fact, allowing you to customize and update their products, unlike some other solar generators. Here you can see I set a limit where I will not allow it to discharge past 10%. I, at one time, loaned out my previous River Pro to somebody and they drained it all the way to 0. Didn't like that. If I wanted to, I could also prevent it from charging over 80%. But since I'm still in my testing phases of things, I want to see how quickly it'll charge. Down here we have our backup reserve. If I toggle this on, you'll notice that there's now an extra bit here, and that energy reserve is so that if you have a blackout, hey, don't let it fall below this point before telling me I need to charge it. And that's all under our energy management. Down here we have our input information. AC charging speed, well, it's customizable. I have it at the max of 940 watts, but you can drop it all the way down to 100 watts. Same with our car input. We have 4 amp, 6 amp, and 8 amp. And then our DC mode, well, right now I have it on auto, but if we select that, we can say solar charging or car charging. With auto, it will dynamically switch between the two depending on what you have plugged in. Coming down to our output information. Here we have X-Boost. Well, X-Boost is that EcoFlow specific thing that will allow you to utilize devices that might not quite be able to be handled by the output. This will lower the voltage to that device, thereby allowing it to be used. But if you're using something like a heat gun or a hairdryer, you will actually hear a difference in the sound it makes because it's not getting the proper voltage. Use sparingly, but that's how you can turn that on and off. Next we have auto timeout. So unit timeout, I have it for never. As long as I don't push the button to turn it off, it will remain on indefinitely. However, screen timeout, I have it set for 5 minutes, and then AC timeout, meaning it'll turn off the AC outlets after 6 hours. If you are actively using this for a CPAP or something in a blackout situation, you're going to want to have unit never timeout and then make sure your ACs also don't time out. Coming down to other, we have firmware. This, if I select this and there was a firmware, it would let me know to update it. This is the great thing about EcoFlow in that they constantly update their units. Right here we have lab features. Selecting this will let you know, hey, what do we have? Well, right here we have automations. So I can select AC charging, solar charging, AC discharge, and then 12 volt DC discharging. So if I select AC, well here, the unit will stay active under blah, 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 solar time. This is pretty much an if this, then that situation built in now. Under the lab features for now, but that's really cool that they'll allow you to do that. And then we also have our AC always on, which is another feature allowing it to turn itself on or off depending on specifics that you input. Help and feedback, well, there you go. All the information you need. Specifications, this is going to let you know a lot of the information as well as the serial number, which is out of view at the moment, but letting you know your capacity, your outputs for everything. So anything you want to know, right under there under specifications. Homepage, this is new. Right now I have it on the standard, which looks like this. And you can see if I was inputting something, it would have a line letting you know. They also have an energy flow homepage. So we'll select this really quickly. Even this one is different than what it looked like on the original EcoFlow products. The older EcoFlow products still have the old app styling. Newer ones will have something like this. Here are our outputs. It's going to DC. I can toggle on and off my AC and DC from here. If I had the AC on, I could show it over there, showing you time remaining, nothing being inputted. Notice here, it doesn't show you what's actually being utilized. So if I come back up here and I come back to this one, when I look at my output, I can see where that's going. And for me, that is a little better than the energy flow style. And last on this page is actually unit temperature, so Celsius or Fahrenheit. The fact that EcoFlow allows you to have an app that lets you make those changes, that lets you make those updates for their solar generators, always a plus. As you saw, there's a lot that you can change with this using that application. But the fact that you also have firmware updates means this device can get better over time, unlike some others where the station is the station because that's how it is and you can never change it. Firmware means that you will constantly be able to make this better. Should they be able to lower the sound of the fans because they found a way to offset the heat another way, those are all going to be from your firmware. And the fact that you have access to this via an application is what makes EcoFlow stand out compared to other portable solar generators. But I don't expect you to take my word for it. So here is a battery of tests that I ran for the EcoFlow River Pro 2 here with some basic household items, testing maximum outputs and wattage and even X-Boost to see if I could get some things to work that shouldn't really work. Hair dryer on low. 408. Cool. 9 to 7. High. Cannot do high. X-Boost enabled. Going to start with low. Going to high. Can do high on X-Boost. Curling iron. You can see it's doing 110. It says the highest that the curling iron can go to. At least I think it is. I'm not familiar with these, but can run a curling iron at 88% for like 4 hours if you needed to. Similar to a hair dryer, here we have a heat gun and we will set it up for low. Handles it like a champ. Moving up, high. All right, so it got to about 1200 and then overloaded. Heat gun on high with X-Boost, starting with the low. High. All right, so it's lowering the wattage to it, which is allowing it to run on high. So you're not getting the full effect, but you can run it if you needed to. Here we have a standing fan just behind it right there. And we're going to start that up on its lowest setting, medium, high. No problem whatsoever. Power tools from a day and age before Energy Star was even a thing. There we got a jigsaw, no X mode. Not bad, get a decent amount of runtime out of that. Next tool from a bygone age, drill. Again, no Energy Star. Just making sure that it can handle the quick uptick of initial power draw. It's doing it, but it's not showing the wattage. Not bad, decent amount of time for drilling. The display is not quite as responsive as its predecessor was. Here we have a space heater. I'm just going to turn the fan on. No X boost. Fan works. Oscillation as well. We're going to try low heat. All right, you can see it's doing it. Staying under 900. Be able to do this for about 51 hours. That's not bad if you think about it. I don't think it's going to be able to do high. We're going to give it a shot. Yeah, overloaded at 1300. We're going to turn X boost on and see if that does anything. So we know we can get to low perfectly fine. Let's see what we do with high. It's letting it do it. It pushed the wattage down, but definitely it cut down on the fan speed. Like it's not as loud as low. Like if I put this to low, the fan actually is much louder. However, you can see the EcoFlow itself went into fan mode because it's drawing a lot from this, and the fact that I also have a heater kind of pushing hot air on it. This one might be a little tricky to see. These are my two studio lights. So when I film, this is what I use. And now they're both on. 48 watts. Total runtime of 29 hours. This is why this is really good for portability. Well, now 9 hours, but you can take this wherever and set up what you need to do. Here, this is why the pure sine wave that this delivers is important. Right there, my computer is currently pulling 285 to 275. I can do this for 2 hours, and I'm in a hub for a game, so there's a lot going on, and I crank the computer up to full. There you can see it's bouncing around. Now, having this dial right here means I know exactly how long I can run my computer off of this before it fails, which is very important. And I have everything cranked up to full over there, so this is the best that we can do, which is good. The fact that I can do this for as long as I can. All right, this one's a little trickier to do, but this is the stand mixer plugged into the EcoFlow. You can see there's the cable. It's plugged into this, and we don't have a lot of room up here, so we're gonna try and do this. Stand mixer's going. Stand mixer on high. Left the freezer door open for quite some time to see if I can get the River Pro here to power it without using X boost. And the cable's a little short, so we're just gonna shift that back a little bit. And again, see if we could do this without X boost. You can see right there it overloaded, so no, it was not enough. We're gonna power everything down. I'll turn on X boost and see if we can do it. All right, X boost is now on. We'll see if that's enough to get past the jump of the motor starting. Okay, with X boost on, it was enough. It got past the initial jump. Now I'm going to stop my test before my wife kills me. There you saw the menagerie of household items that I threw at this. Worked perfectly fine. Realistically, I take this with me primarily when I'm doing shoots off-site because I've got 4 AC outlets and my USBs up here, which let me charge just about everything that I need in my filming arsenal. And for mobile camping, this also could be very useful. The fact that it solar charges, yes, you have a maximum of 220 watt that you can put into this via solar, which can charge it from about 4.5 to 9 hours depending on sunlight. I've used it with a 160 watt panel and it took a little longer than that, but after the purchase of this, all that solar energy is free. So why not have something that can store all of that energy for you from the sun for free? Now, there are a lot of things that I like about this solar generator, but there are a few that I don't particularly care for and wish they did a little better. First being, there's no expandable battery to this. The previous generation had it. Yes, I never actually got the expandable battery, but I like the fact that it was there as an option if I wanted to. The lack of a wireless charging pad on the top just seems like a very large oversight by EcoFlow, And the fact that you have to go to a third-party manufacturer to get it kinda hurts. Only having one USB-C port on the front. Also, as I mentioned, I wish there were two, or at the very least, I wish that they changed one of the USB-As to a fast charge. The fact that the handle is oddly placed and makes the unit itself tip forward as you're carrying it is a little off-putting, but I understand why they did it. And some of the degradation in my feeling to the display, wish they would have left it as it was. But those are just a few small things that I could think of that I didn't particularly care for. For the size and power you get with this unit, it is well worth checking out for yourself if you need something that is portable but still offers a good amount of power output. Because of that, I can strongly recommend the EcoFlow River Pro 2. If this solar generator seems like something you'd like, I will have a link for it down in the description area below where you can pick one up for yourself if you're interested. Do you know of another brand of small portable solar generator I should check out? Let me know in the comment section below. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making an in-depth video like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Still not sure this is the right portable solar generator for you? On screen now, you will see 2 other reviews that I've done in the past to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.